welcome back to Mexico News Network's breaking news broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma. Now remember to stay informed 24/7 by logging onto our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com, and don't forget to also follow us on social networks on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. You'll find us as Mexico News Network. Now let's move along to more information. June 3rd of 2015 was a very important day for gay rights in Mexico, as the Supreme Court issued a generic jurisprudence on marriage equality, stating that it is no longer illegal for same-sex couples to get married in Mexico. The ruling addressed the very legal definition of marriage, the law of any federal entity that, on the one hand, considers that the goal of marriage is procreation and/or defines marriage as celebrating the union of a man and a woman, is unconstitutional. In other words, same-sex couples can now get married, as if any couple is denied of this right, they can get a court order from district judges, as they are now obligated to issue them following this blanket statement. The Mexican Supreme Court considers the exclusion of these couples from the rights and benefits given to the heterosexual couples to be quite discriminatory. The path is not entirely paved, though. Local administrative authorities from the civil registry can still deny same-sex marriage, though, until the law is officially changed. That being said, if a couple seeks an injunction, district judges are obligated to grant it. This precedent must be then set 5 times per state in order to fully void local marriage code. Now, this has taken place very slow but steadily, which gives reason to hope. The downside is that the process to secure injunctions can be quite costly, with couples forced to pay more than $1,000 only for a lengthy process. Now, just 6 years after same-sex marriage was approved in Mexico City, it is now, at least theoretically, possible for couples to get married by the book in all 31 states of the entire country. This sets Mexico in the same group as countries such as Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil, which have very similar legislation. Excellent news for the community. Moving along to more information, imagine the idea of a robot highway going from Canada to Mexico. Sound a bit over the top? Well, you'll be very surprised and glad to know that this may not be so crazy after all, and may be closer than you thought. Only last week, a group of truck drivers gathered in North Dakota, where Mario Anderson, who is part of the Central North American Trade Corridor Association, better known as the CNATA, who assured that the idea of self-driving trucks transporting cargo from Canada all the way to Mexico, going through the United States on a robot route in which there is no need of passport or visa, is not such a crazy idea and more of a close reality. He was in fact quoted from an article published on the Globe and Mail saying this precise statement. However, how will this work? It's quite simple. The plan is to create a brand new corridor for self-driving vehicles that may traverse this route in the near future. Route 83, in fact, runs from the north to the south, going through Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South and North Dakota, in order for them to traverse onto Manitoba. Now, there are several reasons why such project gains importance, being one of the main ones the following. North Dakota produces a great amount of oil, and there is not a very efficient way to transport it to its final destination. Regardless of the quantity of trains available only in the area, they haven't the space needed for such task. Now, in addition, those trucks that do transport the goods, unfortunately, keep exploding on a regular basis. Now, to solution this, a self-driving truck would definitely ease the pressure of such problem, and a separate road made especially to transport goods as such would also help keep all those drivers safe and sound from accidents running on Route 83. The technology used to operate these vehicles is still somewhat experimental. However, it already exists in driverless vehicles. Now, in addition, tests as well as tryouts for it have ended successfully, therefore concluding that cars that are not driven by a person could in fact be more efficient. Freightliner recently announced that the first self-drive rig will arrive to Nebraska and will be completely legal. It's important to mention that the whole project is not finished entirely, and a driver-human co-pilot is still needed to operate and maneuver the entire vehicle. Anderson commented that he is very well aware that for some, the idea of a self-driving car is very daunting and somewhat frightening. Nonetheless, he also understands that it helps them correct human mistakes as well as improve the overall mechanism of the vehicle, turning the roads into a much safer place. On the other hand, Roy Ludwig, mayor of Estevan in Saskatchewan, Canada, which is near the US border, also attended this meeting, and he assured that he greatly believes and has great trust in the project. It is definitely an idea that is worth looking over as well as into, along with supporting new technologies and see where they may lead you or us. Maybe great benefits shall result from it. Moving along to more information, students of the National Polytechnic Institute, the IPN in Mexico, have developed a new tool that they hope will help teachers, researchers, and psychologists to understand learning processes using a diadem that registers eye movement. Every single person is unique, each one of us developing our own methods of learning. However, what IPN students Juan Miguel Martinez and Patricia del Pilar Solórzano observed was that unconsciously, people made particularly eye movements while learning, remembering, or carrying out some form of activity that requires concentration. Taking this into account, they developed the tool for detection of sensory channels through recognition of eye movement pattern. This Mexican device has an integrated thermographic camera that records the eye movement of the person using the diadem while somebody else asks him or her questions. Afterward, this information is completely analyzed by a computer system that indicates the number of times that the eyes went up, down, right, left, or they kept still. Now, the predominant types of movements determine how a person in fact learns: visual, auditory, or kinesthetic, in accordance with the neuro-linguistic programming theory. Miguel Angel and Patricia said that for this project they succeeded in using intelligent algorithms to classify images and set the different categories of the individual learning processes. With this new tool, researchers will be able to identify which one of the three basic processes is the best before choosing a learning method. According to the NLP theory, visual people will usually employ graphics, drawings, images, videos, movies, posters, and diagrams, all visualized to learn a brand new skill or understand information. On the other hand, auditory people prefer to listen to a recording, to a talk, or to read out loud. Another type of learning are the kinesthetic learning processes, which is based on experimenting and touching textures as well as surfaces. Moving along to more news. Can you imagine wearing a garment that doubles as a gadget? Enter Machinae, a men's fashion brand founded by Mexican duo Linda Franco and Antonio Machinae, with the idea of creating wearable and functional technology to make our lives much better instead of disconnecting and distracting us. Machinae works under the concept of making wearable technology ubiquitous by merging fashion as well as technology in functional and visually appealing ways. In other words, they have managed to create, after years of investigation and testing, clothing that interacts with the user, becoming functional aside from providing a basic human need, of course. Now, one of the most interesting products yet is the MIDI controller jacket, which is a musical instrument digital interface, a garment designed for musical creation where body movements are translated into music. Now the jacket has several buttons, a magnetometer, a gyroscope, and other sensors that send the information to the MIDI controller jacket app, where the user can set the notes matching the body movement. The sensors are very well hidden within the garment and also have a preset configuration, but can also be adapted to any given purpose, so the user can reprogram them and provide a personal twist to every garment. The company's products are intended for people to think that they are not only buying a piece of clothing, but also a gadget. They currently have 4 different product lines. Products with embedded electronic technology. Number 2, products with ink and fabric technology. Number 3, products that revolve around gadgets. And last but not least, products that interact with mobile devices. All technology aside, Machinae works thoroughly on the product's aesthetic, considering the importance of the garment looking and feeling like a regular piece of clothing, but also being functional as well as intuitive. Incredible news for the fashion as well as technology sectors. Stay with us, we'll be right back with more information on news, Mexico, and the world after these few messages from our sponsors.
Audio Jungle.